I'm going to show you guys how to make Napolitano cookies. They're the perfect treat when you can't make up your mind. They combine two different types of dough into one. First, we're going to make a Clementine dough with dried cherries, and the next part of the cookie is going to be a dark chocolate espresso dough with a little bit of walnuts. It's a perfect sweet treat to serve with your favorite coffee or tea. We have 1 1/4 cups of blanched almonds, and you can usually find that in the candy section of your grocery store, you know, the bulk section where you can fill it yourself. And in here I have 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. Just with my hands, just going to toss it together lightly. And then you're going to put it in your food processor. I'm going to use a blender on a different setting. So you get it all incorporated, and then it kind of looks like cornmeal a little bit. And we're going to put this to the side. Next, you'll need to grab a mixing bowl. And then I'm going to take about 3 tablespoons of clementine zest, and then half of a clementine juice. So it was about 6 clementines that I used, but I'm not going to waste them, don't worry. I'm going to make a little salad afterwards and eat them. Make sure you don't waste them. Smells nice and citrusy, and it's a little bit of a lighter citrus flavor rather than using a lemon or something, which can be a little bit overpowering sometimes. Then I'm going to take 1 1/2 sticks of unsalted butter, and then we're just going to mix this until the butter and the zest gets incorporated. The butter and the clementines, which created this light and fluffy mixture, basically just a clementine butter. Make sure it's nice and fluffy. Then I'm going to add in our sugar and our almond mixture. And we're going to beat this on a low speed until it gets incorporated. Then I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of grapefruit juice. And if you don't have a fresh grapefruit in your house, you can always use lemon juice as well. That's perfectly fine. And then just 1 large egg. Then we're going to put that on our mixer. Our first dough is all finished after we put that flour on in there. So I'm just going to take some plastic wrap. And we're going to pop it in the fridge while we make our chocolate espresso cookie dough. The first thing we have to do for our chocolate espresso dough is sift together the flour, the cocoa powder, and the espresso. So when you're sifting something, basically it's a little thing like this. Every sift is different, sieve or whatever it's called. And I'm just going to put this on a bigger bowl. And let's start with our espresso. Or no, actually let's start with the cocoa powder. So I have 1/2 cup of dark chocolate cocoa powder. Just going to put it in here. And then just tap this off. See how it's getting in our bowl, and when it's coming in here it's a little bit softer. That's going to help with the texture of the cookies. So you want to do that for each of your ingredients and then combine. This is our mixture after we sifted everything. Just notice how light and airy that is. I'm just going to give it a little mix. In comparison to if you just put the ingredients in on their own where the flour is a little bit more tough, this just makes for a little bit of a lighter cookie, better texture. 2 sticks of butter. Nice and healthy for you guys, you know, nice and healthy. 1/2 teaspoon of good quality vanilla. Then 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. And we're just going to beat the butter with the sugar like we usually do with our cookies. Then add in the flour. I'm going to add in some of our cocoa powder that we sifted. And just do a little bit at a time so it doesn't overpower this butter mixture. And then just stir in your mixer until everything incorporates. Chocolate espresso dough is all done, so I'm just going to put plastic wrap on this as well. And I'll pop it in the fridge because I want to prep our bowl that we're going to put our cookies in to chill out together. I just took my orange dough out of the fridge, and we're going to put in 1 cup of dried cherries. And if you don't like cherries, then you can use cranberries, but I love cherries. Hopefully there's a cup of cherries in there because I've been snacking on them. Espresso dough, which I did taste, and it's absolutely delicious. You could eat it on its own. And then we're going to add 1 cup of walnuts. And if you're allergic to nuts or you don't like nuts, then don't bother. You don't have to add it in. And then just fold that into your dough. I know it looks like a lot of hard work, but I promise we're getting close to the end. Let me grab our orange dough here and just put it into that pan that you lined with the plastic wrap. You can use your fingers if you have to. Not a big deal. And you don't have to grease the plastic wrap. You don't have to do anything to it. Just put your dough right on in there. Get a nice big scoop. And I have an offset spatula sitting over here next to me. Because we're going to, whoops, can you guys see that? Because we're going to just spread the dough down so it's nice and even. Oh, there's a little bit left in there. Make sure you get all of it. Okay, let me grab my spatula. and just press it down into the pan until it's nice and smooth. Espresso dough, and of course we're just going to put that right over the top of the orange sable dough. And then after I spread this layer out, I'm just going to throw some plastic wrap right on top, and we're going to chill it for about 2 hours at a minimum, because you want to be able to cut it. We're going to slice it when it's all chilled. I know I'm just using my fingers, but that's fine. You use your fingers as long as they're clean. Make sure they're clean. I just pulled the cookies out of the fridge. They've been in there for 2 hours, so fast forward to 2 hours later, you're just going to pull your plastic wrap off, and I just took it out of the container. It just popped right out really easily. And let's get this bottom plastic wrap off of here too. And it doesn't really matter which way you could face it. You could put this down or the other one. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to take a knife, and I guess we want our cookies to be maybe about this big. And I'm just going to cut it into 3 separate sections. So we'll do this one, and then I guess that's about the same size. Oh, we'll make some bigger cookies, that's okay. Make sure you get a nice, good knife with some ridges on it. Then you're just going to take the dough, and then just slice it up nice and thin. It should make about 8 dozen cookies. And the ends, not as pretty as the other ones, but it should, oh, there goes our oven preheated. It's going to look something like this. We're just going to put it on a cookie sheet. You can use parchment paper. I forgot to get some, so I'm just going to put it on a baking sheet. It'll be fine if you take them off right away. But pop them in the oven, 350 degrees for about 14 minutes. And this is what the cookies look like when they come out of the oven. Mine look a little similar to biscotti, but if you cut them differently, you could cut them into squares. I mean, you can cut them a little bit smaller. I was a little generous with my portions because I like big cookies, but that's what they look like. They're really delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial.
You sent me, this is exactly how it should feel.